Welcome to the Tech Sales Funnels podcast, where we dive deep and answer the ultimate question, how did you hack into tech sales? Each week, we bring you inspiring stories, proven strategies, and insider tips from top performers who've cracked the code to break into tech sales and thrive. Whether you're just starting out, making a career pivot, or ready to level up, this is your go-to space for actionable advice and real-world success stories. Let's crack the code together, because hacking into tech sales isn't just a dream, it's your next move. Now with your host, the founder of Tech Sales Funnels and the tech sales hacker himself, Davison Da Silva.
All right, everyone, welcome again to the Tech Sales Funnels podcast. I'm super excited today. Your guest, Kristina Denney, I think I'm saying her last name right. She is absolutely amazing. She reached out, volunteered to speak on the podcast. She is a top performer at Microsoft. She's not only at Microsoft, which is one of the leading tech sales organizations in the world, but she's also on the top of the top of the top of the top of all the sellers. So it's going to be amazing to hear her story, how she got into tech sales, and how she's doing this amazing job, and also inspiring and leading her way, helping other people as well. So I'm going to bring to stage right now, Kristina Denney. Let's go. Hello,
Hi.
Kristina.
It was so nice to be here. I have been watching your episodes. You've brought in quite a few people that I know at Microsoft, and so these are people that I look up to, and I had to raise my hand because I think what you're doing is incredibly inspiring, and I feel like my story is in line with what others have been bringing, right, in terms of how they broke into tech sales and from a non-conventional background.
That's awesome. And by the way, if you're listening to this, if you want to raise your hand, please do. Make my life easier. I have no problem reaching out to people and inviting people for the podcast. And I have a huge list, but hey, if you want to speak, just reach out anytime. Kristina, you mentioned about people that I already interviewed in this podcast. It's absolutely amazing. Their stories, their lives, what they're doing now. It's getting better and better. It's not because of me, it's just because of the people. And I'm so grateful you're here today. Tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and a high level, 3,000 foot, and we're going to, slowly dive deep into the tech sales world.
Yeah. So, as you said, Kristina Denney, I am currently a app innovation specialist at Microsoft, based out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I've been at Microsoft actually coming up on 5 years. So I actually started March 20th, 2020. So one of the first kind of, I think, teams that had to do our interviews virtually. Everything was onboarded virtually. So it was kind of a crazy time to join Microsoft. But before coming to Microsoft and kind of like this technology sector, I've been in sales for a better part of 20 years. I started my career in financial services. So think kind of like investment banking, capital markets, lived all around the world. That job brought me to Boston. I lived in London, and then I lived in Australia for 4 years, where I actually met my husband, who is British, which people always get confused because we met in Australia, but he's actually from the UK. And now we're back in Texas. We have 2 daughters, 5 and 7. They keep us very busy. They're just like mama, very strong-willed, and they're definitely gonna be leading the world one day for sure. We have 2 dogs, 3 cats, and I'm also a DIYer. So you can actually see the bookshelf behind me. These are actually IKEA bookshelves. That I had made to look custom. So my house is like a constant construction zone with all the projects that I, come up with on TikTok. My husband hates it. And then outside of kind of my professional life, I also do a lot of patient advocacy work. because I actually have a neuromuscular disease that I was diagnosed with at 17 called myasthenia gravis. And so that has been an interesting, I think, aspect of my kind of career path. And so now I'm in a place I'm able to really give back. And so I do a lot of work on helping bring my experience and my kind of thoughts on like patient advocacy, both to doctors, to patients. And I'm actually doing a campaign right now with a company that makes the apheresis machines for plasmapheresis, which is a type of treatment that I would have when I was sick, bringing access, right, to those that have my condition, because it's very expensive. And, you know, if you're at a rural place, it's probably hard to get access. So those are kind of things that are really important to me. And yeah, look, you know, happy to jump in and go deeper on how I got to Microsoft.
Wow. Thank you so much for your background. It's amazing. I don't know how you're doing all the stuff, right? As a mom, top performer at Microsoft, 2 kids, cats, dogs, volunteer work, all the stuff. But something that I noticed, Christina, is that people who are top performers, they're all busy. And the busy ones are the ones who get more stuff done. It's very interesting how it works. The people who are not busy, they're not getting that much done. Anyways, I appreciate your sharing your background. It sounds like we could go in so many directions here, but yeah, let's dive into the question of the podcast. How did you hack into tech sales? You say you came from the financial services industry, 20 years in sales. Don't hide anything. Tell us everything, step by step, the process, and I'm going to be asking more questions along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's interesting for my story, because I did say that it was non-conventional. And when I say non-conventional, I actually didn't finish high school.
Okay.
And this was due to the diagnosis that I had at 17. And I, because of my illness, I actually never went to college either. So did not go to university. So I'm probably one of those rare people that does not hold any sort of degree, right? Which we could talk through that later. But I, despite those challenges and those obstacles early in my life, it didn't stop me from my like desire to learn. I think I've always had a pretty healthy level of curiosity, and I was always very studious before I got sick. I was always like in the top 2% of my class. Was in the gifted and talented education program. So definitely someone who was very much in the books. And then I got this illness, and it kind of, kind of threw me off my trajectory, if you will. And so, but I didn't let that stop me. I didn't let that stop me from finding a way to have a career. And I didn't know what that would be at the time. But I did know that I didn't want to become a statistic. I didn't want to follow a path that said, hey, you're a high school dropout, you don't have a university education, like you're destined for a, hourly wage job. That just is not something that I aspired to be. So I figured out a way.
Wow.
And for me, that way was finding an entry level kind of help desk job at a financial services company. And I literally worked my way up. I worked my way up through every level. I ran circles around the people around me, which was incredibly intimidating to do. Most people that I worked with had degrees, right? Bentley is a very well-known college in Massachusetts for financial, finance. And that was basically what our hiring pool came from. So I was competing against the best, and I had to just keep proving myself time and time again that I deserved to be where I was, despite the kind of on paper not having that kind of educational pedigree. So I had to prove myself.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Like a lot of people, I would say 99% of the people would be just like, hey, you know, this is my life, and this is how I'm gonna go, and you're like 1%, totally. Like you
Yeah,
turn
I just
around.
wasn't going to accept that. I wasn't.
I'm not surprised why you're now top 1% of Microsoft.
I mean, you kind of made it, you kind of said earlier, like the people that, typically high performers are very busy. It's kind of like I always say I thrive in chaos. If it's
Mm,
chaotic, I'm not doing enough. I can't, I can't be idle ever. But yeah, I mean, that determination, mind you, I was like dealing with that and dealing with sickness, right? So my
mhm.
disease was not well controlled at the time. So I was kind of balancing hospitalizations and then trying to be the best at work. And
Wow.
it was definitely challenging. But like I said, I just have a mindset of I can't fail. And once I set my mind on something, nothing's going to get in my way.
So it sounds like you're like doing really well, top performer on that job. What made you think that you wanted to go to tech sales? What was attractive on tech sales that you made that transition?
Yeah,
And
honestly, it was
how did
it
that
was
happen?
my network, right? So I spent about 11, almost 12 years at that company, and then I came back to the US. I got married. As I mentioned, I was living in Australia at the time, and mind you, I went from the help desk to the first account manager for the Asia Pac region.
Wow.
The first one they had in region. So I was covering all of Australia and New Zealand, and like my customers were like JP Morgan, State Street, like these were big global firms.
Surprise, yeah.
So it's pretty impressive. I tend to forget what I was able to accomplish, but it was pretty significant. And so I came back to the US and I worked for a company that was actually an Australian company that
Oh,
had a US base. And it was actually selling uh, kind of like market research or like solutions to procurement and supply chain,
okay.
which I thought was very interesting. And I can tell you that if you've ever had to deal with procurement, try selling something to procurement if you really want a challenge. Probably one of the hardest, I think, groups to convince that you have a problem that
Did you change?
they have a problem that you can solve with your solution and that they're going to pay for it with the budget that they don't have. So that was actually a lot of fun, and I think that that is what made me the seller that I am today. But I was at that company for almost 5 years, and so how I got to Microsoft was someone that I worked with at that company moved to Texas, right? Got a job at
Mhm.
Microsoft working out of Las Colinas,
Oh,
and it was through that like close relationship that, he was also kind of non-conventional. He was the
okay.
one that convinced me, like, oh my God, Christina, like you could kill it over here. Like you
I love it.
absolutely would be incredible. Because at first mentioned, I was like, I can't, like, how Microsoft's gonna look at me and go, what? Like,
What?
despite like my background, but still, like, where's the technology part? Well, I mean, yes, the role was technical, like when I was in financial services, but not exactly right apples to
Mhm.
apples. So it was that network, right? I think I made a comment on one of your posts recently that like your network is worth so much more than your resume. And
Mhm.
it was that connection that vouched for me, right, to his leadership to say, hey, I've got a really strong seller. I'll introduce you. And the rest was kind of history, right? I had to show
Wow.
up, prove myself. But that's how I ended up at Microsoft was through my network.
That's absolutely amazing. So, if you're listening to this, by the way, so Christina, she was very humble to say that, but she had not even no high school, no college because of some personal illness, right? She found her way around to grow in a career in sales successfully, and then she positioned herself to be on the right place, the right time, and she knew the right person to recommend her. Network, network, network. I tell people all the time, because I help right now help people get jobs into tech sales. 80% of the time, you have to be networking. You have to be on LinkedIn, sending messages, videos, audios, whatever, talking to people. Now, uh, your friend knew your potential. How did you prove yourself on the process, right? Because one thing is someone to know you personally and recommend, and then you were able to apply because of that recommendation. How was the interview process? How did you prove yourself to the Microsoft team? Let's say that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you're 100% spot on. Like the network got my foot in the door, right?
Yeah.
But I had to do the work. I had to show up, and this person obviously recommended me because they knew that I would show up and I wouldn't embarrass them, right? That's really important too. Like people are not going to refer you if they don't think that you're capable. So I had to put the work in, right? I think it was a 3 interview loop, right? Two or more, just kind of like behavioral, kind of getting to know me, right, as a person. And then there was one that I had to do a mock, kind of like like a discovery call where I'm trying to like uncover band, right? And
Okay.
mind you, I had never sold, and I was going to business applications, right? So I've been in
Oh yeah,
different,
the
I am
hardest
now.
one.
Yeah, so I never sold CRM, ERP, or Power Platform. These were all foreign things to me. I mean, I've used a CRM, but selling it's very different. And so I had to study, right? I had to just geek out and understand, like anything. And I tell people I could sell anything because it's really about understanding what is the problem that you're trying to solve. Like I don't care what the solution is. It's who are your key, like, decision makers, who's your buying audience, and what problems are you trying to solve for them. And so
Mm,
understanding, right, what that looks like, and how to run a discovery and what type of questions to ask to kind of dig in deep to find a, kind of get to those, real kind of concerns that the customer has. And then kind of come like the solution of the product should be like the last part of it, right? It's really about understanding how to solve for their problem. So that's what I
mhm,
did. So I just really kind of tried to understand as much as I could in the short amount of time that I had to prep, right? I knew I wasn't going to go in as the expert, but if at least I could talk my way through a discovery and kind of show them that, like, hey, it doesn't matter what you put in front of me, or who the buyer is, I could run discovery, I can ask the right questions, I could lead with curiosity,
mhm,
listen to the customer, right? And really
mhm.
kind of understand the situation. So that's what I did.
Awesome.
I just brought my A game and brought what I do, which is, I definitely lead with integrity. And, I always tell people too, I don't really sell anything. Like I've never sold anything in my life. I just help,
Mm, I
right?
love. I have the same mentality. I tell people I don't sell, I serve. One time I said that to
Yeah.
one of my managers. She's like, "What do you mean you don't sell?" Like,
It's
I
like,
just
yeah,
serve. I
well,
just help people.
forget the quota and stuff. Like I don't sell anything. Like if you do the right thing by the customer, like the sale will
Yeah,
come.
exactly.
And I've actually told customers before, like, yeah, my product's not gonna, like, I can't solve your problems. I wish I could, but I'd rather have that be the experience that they have with me versus like, trying to force something that's not
Mm,
the right
I
solution.
love it. You mentioned that you brought your A game during the interview process. Did you ever like felt like some imposter syndrome? Like, hey, it's Microsoft. Why am
Yeah,
I
I mean, I think
here?
once I got in, for sure, I'm definitely really good at just kind of putting aside those feelings. Like if I kind of feel like it's almost like a little bit of a performance, right? When you're in an interview,
Mm,
you are trying to bring your best performance, right, to show what you're capable of. And so I didn't let that kind of eat into my thoughts, right? I just kind of showed up. I was me. I was authentic. Again,
awesome.
definitely delivered a interview, or a discovery mock discovery based on all of the prep that I did. Right, it was very clear that I didn't just show up and
Mhm,
half-assed it. I definitely put the work in, and I didn't want to let my friend down, obviously. And then I
mhm.
got the offer, and I think when it was at the moment that I got the offer that I was like,
Yeah.
oh no.
That's nothing.
Oh no.
That's
Okay.
Microsoft.
I got my foot in the door, but now I'm gonna have to like actually do the job. And oh my goodness, this is
Yeah.
crazy. And then what made it even crazier was, as you know, coming into Microsoft is incredibly, uh, oh gosh, it is overwhelming.
Yep. Yep.
They talk about the fire hose, right, of information, and they're not lying.
Yeah.
Try doing that during COVID,
Oh,
where
wow.
it's all remote.
Oh,
You're just like really have no
training and all
idea.
that
Yeah,
onboarding. Forget
there's
about
no
it.
one to help, no one to kind of listen in.
Wow.
That was incredibly challenging.
Wow. Well, it sounds like your life has prepared you for that moment. Everything, I feel like everything's kind of happens for a reason sometimes, and we might not think we're not prepared for that moment, but we are. I don't know. I just my personal thought, and it sounds like you survived the sink swim, and then you're swimming like a pro, and you were able to manage your way. It's not easy, like you said. Now let's talk a little bit about Microsoft. So you mentioned you started business applications, you hacked your way into Microsoft. What other positions did you hold, and how did you manage your way to change roles? Because even I tell people, okay, you have to hack into the organization, but then once you're inside, there's also a skill and a something you have to do in order to move in different ways and hack into different groups and that kind of stuff. Tell us a little bit about your journey inside of Microsoft and how did you manage your way up?
Yeah, so it's again another, I think, interesting kind of story. So the org that I started in was uh, the cloud acquisition team. So
Okay.
this was a team specifically for business applications to go after white space accounts in enterprise accounts, right? So I was assigned to the Northeast and I was working. Basically, I was like a specialist, but I was going after those white space accounts in my actual assigned specialist territory, right? So I
Mm,
worked with several dynamic specialists across the Northeast. So I covered probably like, I don't know, 100 and something accounts and really going after those accounts where they have no
hunting
yeah. So hunter role through and
all
through.
day.
And so in the Northeast, and it's actually funny why they put me in that territory is, the Northeast has a reputation of being kind of, difficult to work with. You've got a lot of
Yeah,
different personalities from New York, Boston,
yeah.
DC. And the fact that I had lived in Boston for like 12, 13
Oh,
years, they're like, ooh, Christina could probably do well, right?
breaking.
And they were spot on. Yes, it's like I'm used to dealing with, like, to me, I'm like, no, I like the way the Northeast works. It's like, hurry, hurry, come on, go, go, go.
Oh,
Yesterday, that's how I work. So we got on really well. And I just, I crushed it, right? All of my specialists were like, Christina is an ace. They brought me into everything. We had a great year,
wow.
great couple of fiscal years. And one of the specialists that I worked with, she actually moved over to Azure, right? And
Mm,
it's, they're very different worlds, right?
yeah.
Azure
Oh,
and Biz Apps, totally
yes.
different. And so she made the move over, and she actually made the move over as an M1, so a manager. So, right, she went from
Mm,
individual contributor to a manager. And the first thing she did when she moved over was like, Christina,
Christina.
I want you on my team. And she had to convince me because I was like, I don't know
Ah,
anything about Azure. And then it's also app innovation. So, like, what I'm focused on is our cloud native app development, like
okay.
solutions in Azure and developer productivity. What the hell do I know about developers? I'm not a developer. Like, I don't know anything about this space. I know nothing about anything. And she was like, yeah, but I know that you'll figure it out. Like, and also you're an incredible seller. So I know
Wow.
that I can
Trust,
bring you
yeah.
over and it doesn't matter what it is. I know that you're going to figure it out and you're going to crush it. And so,
Mm,
it took a little bit of
that's
twist of the arm
powerful.
and took a bit of like the right timing with like budget cycles and everything. But I did eventually come over and join her team.
Hmm.
And she is phenomenal. And, I think I started like mid fiscal year. And by the first full fiscal year that I was on her team, mind you, I'd only been in Azure for maybe a year and a half at this point. I got Platinum Club, right?
Mm,
And not only did I
wow.
get Platinum Club, three of us on the team, two of us got Platinum, one of us got Gold.
That's an amazing team. Wow. I was gonna say, as I was listening to you, the manager, leaders, right, has a huge impact on your career in tech sales. And the way that the words that your manager used, right, that she showed 100% trust on you and your ability to perform, and that goes a long, long, long way. And I'm not surprised her team crushed it, right? Totally, totally. That's amazing. It's hard. It's really rare. You are in the tech sales industry, and you know that it's a unicorn. Sometimes finding those amazing, right, individuals and managers, but they are there. And as you are in tech, try to transition to tech sales, you gotta find those, right? Stay close to those.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I feel that, is great of an individual contributor that you can be. You can be the best if you don't have the right leadership advocating for you. It's really tough, right? I 100%, if I didn't have her support and her advocacy, and then the people above her, right? So like her manager and her manager's manager, like all kind of like rooting for me, it would have been tough. I mean, as you know, platinum, and I got platinum choice, right? Which is a little bit different. My numbers were incredible, but I actually got chosen for platinum. And that's no easy feat, right? As you know,
No.
maybe people listening that aren't familiar, Platinum Club at Microsoft is the top 1%
Yeah.
of sellers out of a 70,000 person sales organization.
Yeah.
So to be the top 1% of 70,000 people is just, my mind still, I already went to Platinum Club and I still am
Yeah,
like, "Hi, what?"
look at that red jacket every day. Like,
Yeah,
man,
exactly. It's
I
like I
can do
still
it.
have to pinch myself going, I cannot believe it. But it's because, I obviously had a really strong body of work, right? Last fiscal, really strong numbers, but it's because I had the support of my leadership, not just at my direct manager level, but all the way up the chain,
Mm,
right?
mm.
People that really support me, understand my value, and advocate for me. That's incredibly important in any role. Forget tech. I mean, that's just any
Yeah.
job that you have, you need that.
Yeah. If you cannot build that alliance, it gets really, really hard, really tough.
Mhm.
And you mastered though. There's not many people that can do that as well. So it's a gift, a talent that you have, not only to be a good seller, but to build those relationships and in internal, we like to call corporate, right, politics and all that. You have to learn how to navigate, right? And by your numbers, your performance, it's always top priority. Wow. As you can see, time is flying here.
I know.
I do not want to stop right now. So let's push a little bit more. Um, Kirsten, you're amazing. I'm so grateful that I got to know you a little bit better today. Now, I'm pretty sure you're inspiring a lot of people, and Microsoft is really big into giving back internally as well. Uh, have you have you inspired other people like to get into tech sales? I'm pretty sure other people have. Christina, you're doing all these amazing things. How can I get into it? Like this podcast, everything that I'm doing, it's big into giving back and helping other people uh, have a chance, right? So tell us a little bit about that, and also give us some word of wisdom for the people who are thinking about or questioning about, tech sales.
Yeah, absolutely. So I absolutely love to give back and help others kind of achieve what I've been able to do. In fact, I've actually brought two people right into
Mm,
Microsoft who did not have that, traditional kind of technology pedigree. One of them I worked with in Los Angeles when we were in procurement. He
uh-huh.
moved to Texas, and I was like, "You need to come to Microsoft because you're again a killer salesperson." I'm like, "We crush it." And so he's been here now, I think 3 years. And then my neighbor, right? So this
Oh,
is like your
really?
network. like never stop networking, right? You need to be networking and talking. Like I'm constantly talking about Microsoft wherever I go. If I'm on a plane, always making connections wherever I go. And so it was my neighbor who was like fresh
Uh-huh.
out of like, the Air Force, and I think like in his first like corporate role, and was really kind of like curious about, wow, you work at Microsoft. That's so cool. Like it would be awesome. Like I wish I would, be able to do that one day. And I'm like, why one day? Why not now? And
Hmm.
so, he kind of went through all the reasons why he wouldn't be qualified. And then I had to go back and go, no, no, no. Look at all the reasons why you are qualified, right? You spent
I love it.
better part of 8 years in the military as an officer, right? He was in the Air
Absolutely.
Force. He had a very technical role. And I had to show him that all of the things that he had done in the military absolutely carry over
Transferable.
into technology, Microsoft, corporate world. You just need to be able to articulate that. And he was kind of like, okay. And so he went for it, and he got the job, and he
Mm.
came to Microsoft, and the rest is history. But it's just kind of having those conversations, and encouraging people to break those barriers, right? I think that, in terms of like words of wisdom, the time that we're in right now is the best time, right, for people
Yes.
to really go after anything that they want to, and not be hung up on the old kind of traditional, oh, you need to have this degree, unless you're like
Mm.
a doctor or lawyer. Those things, you still got to
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
But like for technology sales, for a lot of these kind of
Mm.
roles, it's like you really just need to have people skills. You need to be able to talk to people. You need to have empathy. You need to be curious. You need to want to really understand and help people, right? Help understand challenges that organizations are having. And when you think about life skills and things that you may have done in other roles, you'd probably be surprised to find that in a lot of cases, you already have those skills necessary. And a lot of the skills that make really great sellers are soft skills. And they're not
Mm.
hard skills, right? When you think about any sales people that you've dealt with or people that you've known in your career, what is the one thing they had in common? Really great soft skills. These are people that
Mm.
you genuinely like. You like them, you like the energy that they bring. It's not about where they went to school. It's not about their resume, where they've worked. It's really about how did they make you feel? What did they give to you? Like it's all of those things that I think set you up for success in sales, in my opinion.
100%. And we could take literally the last minute of what you just said and create like a whole masterclass.
Right?
I like to say the soft is hard. Sometimes people diminish like the soft skills, but they're the hard ones to have. And hard is soft because sometimes you can learn. You can go to a boot camp and learn like a new technology in like a week or two. But then the soft skills they're developed over time. It's a lifetime of experiences. You mentioned about listening, empathy, all those things. So powerful in sales, and it's a lot of people have it, and they are disqualifying themselves for no reason, right? So I, oh my gosh, let's see. I really don't want to stop here, but hey, it's 33 minutes. I try to keep, I try to keep the. We might have to bring you back, okay? Part
Yeah,
two.
yeah, this is great.
I I want to close this podcast today. There's people on the fence. There's people thinking about layoffs. There's people thinking about chaos. Deck sales is chaos. Oh, we talked about growth mindset. We talked about the ability to articulate your skills, like transferable skills. The people who are on the fence, should I go into tech sales or not? I know it's hard. We all know it's hard, and there's I like to say high risk, high return. That's one thing I learned in my MBA school: high risk, high return. Um, can you give some words of wisdom for those who are on the fence and they say, hey, you should totally do this?
Well, I mean, certainly, it really kind of depends on your why, right? Why you want potentially to go into an industry that is high risk, high reward. For me, in particular, I really wanted to change the change my family's kind of legacy. So
Mm,
I was born into a very poor family, poverty. So I didn't want that for my children. So for me, it's worth the high risk and the high stress because what I'm building for my family in terms of financial wealth and independence to me is everything. So I think that, you can come into tech sales, for the love of technology. You could come into it because, like me, you want to build that financial independence for your family, for your legacy. Just find your why and understand
mm,
that, and be passionate about it. And I think that that is what I would like to leave everybody with.
I love it. I really love it because your why, having strong why, is what's gonna help you to get into tech sales. Having a strong why, it's gonna help you be successful in tech sales, right? So great advice. I absolutely love this conversation. Love this conversation, Christina. Thanks so much for your time. I know you were busy, Mom. It's Friday afternoon. There's a lot to be done, and I hope. I know. I don't hope. I know this podcast will. This episode specifically is going to inspire a lot of people. I can totally see this, and I really appreciate your time.
Oh, like this has been excellent, and I'd be happy to come back. I can talk to you forever.
That's good. That's love it. Thank you everyone again for joining the Tech Sales Funnel podcast today, and I'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for tuning in to the Tech Sales Funnels podcast, where we crack the code and uncover the strategies to break into tech sales. If you found value in today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who's ready to hack their way into this exciting career. Remember, hacking into tech sales isn't just a goal, it's a mission. Let's keep hacking, learning, and winning together. Catch you next time.